everybody, and thanks for joining us for this next session, using cute puppies, forms, and social media to drive website engagement. We've got a group of speakers today from Kent District Library in Michigan. We have Randy, his pronouns are he, him, and he's the Director of Engagement. Remington is also here, his pronouns are he, him, and he's the Webmaster. And then from Canton Public Library, we have Courtney. Her pronouns are she, her, and she's the Web Resources Specialist. And Kaitlyn, her pronouns are she, her, and she is the Communications Specialist. And last but not least, we have Erica Reynolds. Her pronouns are she, her, and she is the VP of Customer Success at BiblioCommons. Before I pass the virtual microphone over to Erica, I do want to introduce myself. My name is Eliana. I'm the Marketing Director at BiblioCommons. And I want to remind you that you can chat and say hello to session attendees or ask questions to all of our wonderful presenters by using the chat panel on the right side of your screen. And if you like, you can turn on a live transcript by clicking on the button located at the bottom of the video stream on the purple bar. A transcript is always available. Should you want one, you just need to request it. With all of that said, I will hand things over to Erica to take over.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eliana. And thanks to our friends here at Kent District and Canton Public for joining us. When I first saw Canton Public promoting this fun way of sharing pets, photos, and voting on that, I was like, what a great way to help sort of fight division in our communities. You know, we need to come together. There's lots of hard conversations to have, but those conversations are easier when we can find things that we all agree on. And that is fantastic pets that we all love. And I just love both these libraries and the cool things they're doing. It also helps to engage with the library in this really wonderful way. So with all that, I will not talk anymore, and I'm going to turn it right over to Randy and Remington.
Thanks, Erica. I'm Randy Goble, Director of Engagement with Kent District Library, and we started a pretty fun project about a year and a half ago about pets. So on the topic of pets, this is Milo. Milo loves to wear clothes and is really into square foot gardening, recommends a lot of books on square foot gardening. He's the polar opposite of my son. So when my son was young, he was naked and barking in the yard. So Milo, he's a little more civilized. But next slide, please. Milo is also featured in our project, which was a pet calendar. And this idea came from two ideas that came together. The first idea was from our fund development manager who said, hey, let's do this to raise money. We can get a lot of people involved and sell calendars, raise some money. And then the other idea, of course, is, isn't my dog the cutest dog you've ever seen? Or isn't my lizard the cutest lizard you've ever seen? Whatever your pet is, people love to talk about it, share it, and it's a lot of fun, right? So next slide, please. So since this is about a calendar, one of the questions that came in my mind is, are printed calendars still a thing? Well, actually they are. I was thinking about it with my wife, my mother, and a lot of people I work with still have calendars hanging on their walls. And this is confirmed by this Advertising Council study that shows 78% of people still use a printed calendar at home or at work. Even with our technology, there's something about having that thing stuck to the fridge to write notes about whatever, appointments or your dog's got to get a haircut, etc. So next slide, please. What's really fun about this is that there's calendars for almost any kind of an interest. I love the Punctuation Saves Lives calendar. There's also another one, if you hit the next slide button. I haven't bought this one yet, but I'm kind of intrigued by the Stephen the Seagull calendar. I mean, there's a calendar for pretty much everything. Next slide. Time for another pet. This is Rocky, and Rocky can name all 7 of the Weasley children. I can't, but this cat can, so he's calendar worthy for sure. Next slide. I'm going to turn this over to Remington to talk a little bit about how we got this campaign set up, how we promoted it, and how we actually, the mechanics of making it work. Remington, take it away.
Thanks, Randy. So as you can see on the slide, this is our blog post announcing the calendar contest and asking people to submit their pet photos. Give them about 2 weeks to submit these. We asked them to have a literary theme. So I just had to have something to do with reading or the library or something. And that, it turns out, got ignored by a lot of our entrants. So we're going to work on finding ways to communicate more clearly what we want from these photos. But the basics was we asked them for a good quality photo of their pet doing something literary. And that's, we had a nice blog post. We had a lot of social media inviting people to submit to this. Go ahead and to the next slide, please. And then after we got our entries in, we created a little voting gallery and allowed people to come in and vote on their favorite. And we tried to let them vote once per day. And we had, there was a bug in the software we were using. This was not a BiblioWeb form. I'll talk about that in a minute. We chose something more sophisticated, which also had some more bugs. But we gave them we started with about a week of voting time and then ended up extending that to try and get some more votes in. And there was, some frustration in that process, but that means that a lot of people were engaged in trying to vote, trying to come to our website for that. And so I think it got a lot of traction, and we would have had higher numbers without the bug there. Go ahead to the next slide. So here's a snapshot of what we used. We used a tool called Submittable. Now, of course, BiblioWeb has their own forms, and the folks at Canton will talk about that and how they use those tools in a minute. We already have Submittable for writing a short story contest that we run every fall. So we decided to use that tool here as well. And it's got a lot of nice built-in features. And we've used it for a teen photo contest here at the library, and that's been really successful. We use it for other things as well. And it's just a simple form. It lets you build a form very similar to how BiblioWeb does. We just have a little submit a file thing at the bottom with a few information fields, very basic. And then it's able to feed those photo files into a gallery pretty easily for public voting. And there's a little snapshot of some of those with the vote tallies. And we may be able to do this with BiblioWeb. And I think I would consider that if we can't get some of these bugs fixed with Submittable. But overall, the mechanics I think are the same. And the idea of whatever tool you use is, can you use it to engage your patrons to come to the library website, engage with your conversation, and in the end to have a lot of really cute pets to talk about and be excited about. So we got a number of entries and a lot of people engaged, and we'll have some numbers on that at the end. Back to Randy.
Thanks, Remington. One of the other really great things about Submittable, we use it for a short story competition, is that it helps us manage the entries so that they can be prejudged, pre-screened, and then they go to a public screening. So it's really a pretty wonderful tool, and the different ways it can be configured for different types of contests and managing everybody involved with it. Okay, next slide. This is Shelley. Shelley's fond of the definitive history of ballet, I think. Can't quite make out the reading on that book, but I know Shelley likes to think of herself as a ballet dancer. Next slide, please. So then it came time to create the calendar. And everything we do, I strive to have multiple levels of value to it. So besides being just a calendar and engaging people with pets, we add a little bit of a promotional value to it as well, which on the next slide, you can see an example of one of the months. So each month had a theme. We also had a literary quote, and we also included some of the main dates that are important with major programs that the library does. So right away, we know people are going to be writing their dog's vet appointments on the calendar, but they'll also know when our short story competition main dates are. And then on the back, of course, we had a little thumbnail image of all of the winners. Next slide, please. So the results of this were, I mentioned right at the start that we launched this as a fundraiser, and our fund development director wanted these to be sold at $20 per piece, and saw, people are going to make a contribution. $20 is not that sky high of an amount. Plus, they'll get a calendar for it. We ended up discounting it to $5 in January, as all the calendars become really cheap after the end of the year. We also secured a sponsor to help underwrite some of the printing costs, which was about $1,000 of that sponsorship. Ultimately, we sold 162 calendars, raised about $3,200. And the engagement, Remington mentioned some of the engagement. We had some issues with the voting, where some people were locked out because of the bug that was happening in Submittable. So I'm sure we had a lot more people who were trying to do this. Our social media reach was pretty good. We had probably at least 20,000 impressions just through what we had posted and then what some of the finalists had reshared to try to stir up more votes for themselves. So in the next slide, I want to talk a little bit about some of the lessons learned from this. The first one is to keep it simple. I think that $20 price point made it, oops, I'm going to the bottom of my slide. I'll go back to the top. Keep it simple. Requirements will not be understood by everybody. You know, Remington mentioned that we had a lot of entries that didn't always have the literary theme to them. Sometimes they were the wrong aspect ratio. You know, like there were tall pictures that couldn't be cropped to fit a calendar, or they were low res. We had all of that information in the campaign and on the forums to submit entries, but people, a lot of them just blow right by that. So my lesson learned from that was we need to find a way to make that more visible, more widely known to people. The voting was also another issue that I think will fix that next time around. You know, we were surprised about the bug that popped up in Submittable. We did our best with it, but I think we would try to simplify that process next time around. And lastly, to make it free. You know, it was a $20 calendar. A lot of people struggled with that. And we strive for the library to offer free services for everybody, no barriers whatsoever. The next time we do this, we'll definitely secure, maybe another sponsor or two to help underwrite our costs, but we'll print a batch of these and just make them available free, first come, first serve. We want more people to enjoy the experience. And I think the biggest benefit from this was it was an integrated campaign that crossed our website, our social media. It engaged our patrons among each other in a really great way. And that alone is worth it. Just getting that good engagement among patrons and their connections. So that's it. That's KDL's pet calendar. Thank you.
Terrific. Okay, Canton Public, you're up.
Yeah, thanks, Randy. So I just want to tell you guys a little bit about how Canton Public Library decided to celebrate National Pet Day on April 11th at our library. And we did that with a contest that we called the Cutest Pet Contest. So we first created the contest in 2022, and it was so successful that we decided to do it again this year. Now, this idea came out of a committee that we have at the library, and they specifically work on creating web content for our website as well as programming. And at first we were just talking about let's just do a single post asking people to post their pets for National Pet Day. And that very quickly turned into, why don't we have people vote? And now the core idea of this contest really comes down to this. We all love our pets and we love sharing our pets. And part of what made this such a great campaign for our website and our social media platforms is just how well it engaged patrons and gave them an opportunity to be involved. So we decided on this idea in December of the previous year. And so we had several months to plan it and figure out what it would look like. We officially launched the contest about a month before National Pet Day in March. And we did that with this social media post on our Facebook page. And we asked people to comment photos of their pets to enter. We received a great response, about 54 entries total. We had 35 dogs, 15 cats, and 4 other pets. So guinea pigs, birds, fish, that kind of thing. And that was actually an increase from 2022 when we received 31 entries. So about 20 more this year. As you can see, our patrons loved submitting the photos. You can see in the upper right-hand corner there's Tico. He's wearing his fancy balaclava. He looks a little unsure, but he's still very cute. And below him is Kona, or as his owner calls him there in the comment, the goodest boy. I agree. He's the goodest boy. And those are just two of the many adorable submissions that we received. Next slide, please. So we got all these amazing photo entries and we needed a place for people to vote. We created a spot on one of our web pages where the voting would take place. It was on our Canton Connections page, and we just put the voting at the very bottom of that page. Now we decided to do 2 rounds of voting, and this was actually something we did differently from last year when we only had 1 round. And we decided to test it out this year just to see how much momentum it would have if we stretched it out more, seeing how well it could perform. And just a little spoiler, it did very well. We were very surprised on how well the second round of voting did, as well as the first round. So the way we structured it was that the first round included all of the pets entered, and voting happened exclusively on the website. And the second round of voting included the top 3 pets with the most votes in each category. And people could either vote, we gave them the option to vote on the website or at a physical display in the library. And interestingly enough, we actually found that the online voting outperformed the physical voting box by about 6 times the amount of votes. So 450 in person versus 3,000 plus online. And I really think that just goes to show how much having an online component made this contest more accessible to our patrons. Next slide. So I'm going to give you a little look just about how we set it up on our website. We ended up dividing the entries into 3 different voting categories. We had dogs, cats, and other. We displayed them specifically in the order of having the other pets on top, then cats, and then dogs, so that patrons would vote for the smaller categories as well, and not just focus on the large dog category. And we decided to divide them up into these categories just based on what we experienced last year. In 2022, we had group voting for all the pets, everybody in one, and the dogs just absolutely swept the awards for that one. They got first, second, and third place. So this year, we really wanted to give the cats and the other pets some time to shine and created those separate categories for them. So as you can see, for each category, we had a photo gallery of the pets on the left, and we used the gallery module for that, and a form for people to select their vote on the right. We also edited all of the photos we received to be the same size and shape, and we added the pets' names as captions when we uploaded them to the media library, so that way we could display the names below each photo. We also edited our form confirmation message a bit to encourage patrons to vote in the other categories as well. So for example, you voted for the cutest cat, you get a little message that said, "Thanks for voting for the cutest cat. Remember to also vote for the cutest dog and the cutest other pet." Next slide. So we collected all these submissions, right? But the biggest part of this campaign was encouraging people to vote. So we promoted the voting across all sorts of platforms. We put it on our social media, on our Facebook, with a link that took people directly to the voting on our website. We put it in our monthly e-newsletter and as a banner on our homepage. And all of these channels really help to drive traffic to our website for voting. Next slide. Now, I personally think a great added bonus to this campaign publicity-wise was definitely the user-created promotional content. So many individuals who had entered their pets into the contest ended up promoting the voting on their own social media platforms. They made cute little videos and social media posts encouraging their friends and family to vote. On the left there, you can see a screenshot from one of our finalists who he submitted his sea monkeys to the contest. And he made several videos on his YouTube page, encouraging other people in the sea monkey community, which is, I guess, is international, to vote for his sea monkeys in our contest. And this example is just shows how we were able to further increase our website reach to our patrons, but not only to our patrons, just to those who may not normally be following the library on our social media or exploring our website on a regular basis. Next slide. So our first round of voting lasted 1 week. We narrowed down to the top 3 in each category and had a second round of voting last another week. And finally, we were able to announce the winners and runner-ups on our social media page on National Pet Day. Our winners were privately messaged to come pick up their prize from the library. We made a little gift bag for them, including a certificate of honor, a gift card, and just some of our library branded swag. And honestly, it was just so wonderful to see even patrons whose pets didn't win were congratulating the others on the social media post. But the winners, they were especially thrilled. I specifically remember a couple of days after one of our winners picked up their prize, we were tagged in a post that they had made, and they had taken their certificate, had it framed and displayed on a table in their home, which was just super fun to see. And one thing I do want to mention, though, is that while this year we did give out prizes, last year we did not. We just announced the winners on social media, and whoever won just got the glory of earning the title of CPL's cutest pet. However, the enthusiasm from patrons for this contest, it was great then, and it was great again this year, prize or no prize. Honestly, the real excitement just doesn't come from getting a prize. It just comes from getting to show off the pet that you love. Next slide, please. So all in all, this year's contest was an absolutely huge success for us. We received a large number of online votes, as well as an increased amount of traffic to our website. Over 5,000 total online votes. As you can see, the second round performed even better than the first round. That momentum stayed throughout the month. And the number of link clicks that we got from Facebook to our website for the voting in particular is the highest performing link we've ever recorded. Over 1,000 link clicks going to go vote for the cute pets on our website. And all of the promotional work for this campaign really helped to drive more users to our website. You can see those two big spikes there of just the rush of people coming in to vote. And next slide, please. We had such a great time doing this contest in April that we've decided to do another iteration of it in October. So coming up on October 1st, I'm super excited. We'll be launching our pet Halloween costume contest, and we're going to be using the same methods for voting on our website and our promotion through social media and other channels. So if you're interested in kind of doing a contest like this for your library, be sure to give us a follow on Facebook. We're at Canton Public Library, and just to see it in action and get inspiration for your own library contest. I am personally very excited to see all of these pets in costume. So thank you.
That was so fantastic. I love all of it. Eliana, do we have any questions in the conference chat? I can't see it from here.
Yeah, no worries. No, I've got you covered. So I haven't seen any new questions come in. When Randy, you were talking about the calendar, Nina had mentioned, could a pay what you wish or can model strike a balance? That way folks who could afford it can still show their monetary support. So that was a sentiment that was shared. Also, Tiff from Chicago just added, this was really fun. Was it difficult to get buy-in from admin, etc., for these cute contests? So that would be for you, Kaitlyn.
I would say our admin was all in on this contest. We really focus on engaging our patrons, whether that's here in the library or outside on platforms such as our website. And so this was just a natural, one of those natural brainstorming sessions that we have. We have a committee, as I mentioned, specifically that works on these kinds of things. We have members of our admin team on this committee. So we're all working together, librarians, communication specialists, program librarians, to create these initiatives. So this is really a group effort, and our admin had just a big part of it, as we did in creating the contest.
Just for context, also, Kaitlyn, can you describe the service population of Canton Public in Michigan?
Yeah, we serve about 90,000 residents here in Canton Public Library.
Yeah, so a huge number of your population was totally into this. It's so good.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Yeah, and the numbers on the site show it. Julie mentioned, it could be a fun morale booster to do a staff version of the pet contest.
Yes, actually, we do. Our social committee puts on a pet Halloween costume contest, actually, for us every year, just as for staff. And that also is very popular around here.
Yeah, it's a good one. We do that too at Biblio, so for Halloween.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all so much. And please go over to the comments later if you want to weigh in over there. And again, thanks so much to Canton Public and Kent District for jumping in on this webinar this panel today. And thanks for sharing the love and building community through our fabulous pets and our love of these silly, furry, and scaly people, non-people. So anyway, thanks so much, guys. And we will see you all in the next session.